Hi, I'm Liam Naden, relationship and marriage coach and best-selling author, and I wanted to make this short video for you just to show you the 5 biggest mistakes that virtually everybody makes when they're trying to save their marriage. You know, in my work as a coach, I get to work with a lot of people, and a lot of people approach me when they're really struggling in their relationship and they don't know what to do. And I find that virtually without exception, people are making these 5 fundamental mistakes. So if you're struggling with your marriage, have a look at these 5 mistakes and see which ones you're making, and I'm sure you're probably making most of them, if not all of them. Now, just before I tell you what the mistakes actually are, just a quick word about me and how I come to actually be here sharing this information and hopefully helping you as well. And if you know anything about my story, when it comes to mistakes in relationships, you'll know that really I'm the absolute master of it. In fact, a while ago, when I was just going through my second very painful divorce, and I had absolutely nothing, I'd ended up with nothing, and I even had both of my ex-wives battling me in court at the same time, I suddenly realized I was doing something very wrong here when it came to relationships and marriage. And although I was at a very low place, and as I say, I'd lost everything, all my successes with my businesses and my friends and pretty well everything, it really drove me to go on a quest, to go on a real mission to find out what makes a relationship work, what makes it really work. And not only that, not only how do you make a relationship a really great relationship, but when things go off track and you run into problems, how do you get things back together? How do you fix the problems, and how do you really go about creating an even better relationship than you had before? And as I say, I went on a quest, and I found what I really believe were the answers on how to do that. And I've had the privilege of being able to share that information through my programs and coaching and my books with a lot of people, and I've seen that it really does make a difference. So that's exciting, and I really do enjoy doing that. But as I say, there are 5 basic things that virtually everybody does that are making saving their marriage even more difficult, and that's what I want to show you in this video. But just before I do, also, it's worth asking the question, why do we do these things wrong? You know, I've asked myself that. Why is it that most people, when their marriage runs into trouble and they really want to save it, they want to get things back together, why is it that they do all the wrong things? And I think there are 3 main reasons. First reason is people don't know, they simply don't know what the right things are to do. Pretty obvious, I guess. The second thing is we're not taught about how relationships actually work. We're not taught about how to put a relationship together and to keep it together. And that goes back to our education system, I guess, and the way we're brought up as people, but none of us, virtually none of us, really get to understand how relationships truly work. And the third reason is we don't know how to fix things when they go wrong. So when things are going well in our relationship, then that's all fine and good, but when something comes along, perhaps our spouse tells us they don't want to be married to us anymore, or they get involved with someone else, or we get under some stress or pressure which creates tension and pain in our relationship, we don't know how to fix that. We don't know what to do to get things back on track. So they're the reasons, I think, why people make these and many other mistakes when it comes to trying to save their marriage. Alright, so what are these 5 mistakes? And as we go through these, think about how many of them you might be making. Mistake number 1, when it comes to trying to save your marriage, is trying to get your spouse, your husband or your wife, to work on your marriage with you. Now, have you tried that? Have you tried to discuss your problems with your husband or your wife? Have you said to them, we need to talk about this, we need to resolve this, we need to work it out? Have you even tried to get them along to counselling? And you'll know that often backfires. If you've got a husband or wife who wants to end the marriage, they don't want to go to counselling. And that is the problem with trying to get your husband or your wife to work on your marriage with you. They probably don't want to. But the reality is that the more discussion you have about it, the more you talk about it, the more you try and solve your problems, the truth is, the worse it makes. And I'm pretty sure if you've tried that, if you're honest with yourself, you'll find and you'll agree with me that that's absolutely true. So that's the first mistake, trying to get your husband or your wife to work on your marriage with you. Alright, mistake number 2, and that's trying to show your spouse just how much you love them. And you might be thinking, alright, they want to leave me, or they're not happy in our marriage. If I can just show them how much I love them, how much they mean to me, how much I care about them, then maybe they'll want to stay, maybe they'll want to come back if they're talking about leaving. But again, haven't you found when you've tried to do that, when you've really got out of your way to be nice to them and be considerate and do special things for them, trying to make them feel good, haven't you found that really doesn't have much of an impact? Not overall. It might make them feel a bit guilty, and they might sort of go through the motions a bit, but it doesn't do any good in terms of really helping to save your marriage. So that's something you need to stop doing as well. That's mistake number 2. Alright, mistake number 3 is pleading with them, or trying to make them feel guilty. Now, if they've told you, hey, I want to leave, I don't love you anymore, I'm in love with someone else, we don't get on, we need to end our marriage. If you've tried pleading with them or tried to make them feel guilty, you'll know that just doesn't work. If you've said to them, please stay, please don't leave, or, if you leave, it's terrible, what about the children, what about our relationship, what about our life? If you've tried to plead with them or make them feel guilty, it just doesn't work. So it's a big mistake to do that as well. Alright, mistake number 4 is getting upset or angry with them. And again, this is what people do. And you can say perhaps it's a natural reaction. If your husband or your wife comes to you and tells you they want to end your marriage, then of course it's pretty upsetting. And I'm not saying you're not going to be upset, but getting upset with them or getting angry with them, showing them those emotions specifically, is not going to help save your marriage. It's not going to make them want to stay. It's not going to make the two of you want to work on rebuilding your marriage. So if you're upset with them or angry with them, it's a big mistake to show them that you are. It really is just going to backfire. And mistake number 5 is being cold towards your husband or your wife. So you're having marriage problems. Perhaps they want to leave, you're not happy, they're not happy, and you think, well, maybe a solution excuse me, is to be cold towards them and give them the cold shoulder. And you might be thinking, but hang on, earlier you said that it was a mistake to be loving towards them, and now you're saying it's a mistake to be cold towards them. Well, the two aren't actually opposites. You can not be loving towards them or not be overly loving towards them and not be cold to them as well. So it's a big mistake if you're feeling cold towards them, or if you think you're going to change their attitude or their behaviour by you being cold towards them. You need to stop that and realise it's only going to make things worse. So those are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see that people make when they're trying to save their marriage. And as I said earlier, I'm sure as we've been going through this, you've been thinking, yes, I do that, I've been doing that. And you've also been thinking, yes, it hasn't worked, it certainly hasn't made anything better, and if I'm honest, it's made things worse. So in terms of a solution, in terms of what to do to save your marriage, the first thing is to stop doing those 5 things. Just stopping doing those is going to make an immediate difference to the feeling around your marriage, and it will make a big difference towards you being able to at least put it in the right direction towards saving your marriage. And of course the next step is to do the right things. Once you've stopped doing the wrong things, now that you know what they are, you can start doing the right things. So that's really fundamental, and I hope from this video you'll realise that if you can just stop making those 5 mistakes, stop doing those 5 things, it will make a big difference. Now if you want some more help, if you really want to get on the fast track towards saving your marriage, if you're not sure what to do, then I've got 2 programs that can really help you. And they're a little bit different, so depending on your situation, one is going to be more suitable for you than the other. Now, the first one is called my Stop Your Divorce, How to Save Your Marriage When Your Spouse Doesn't Want to. And the name really says it all, but this is, if you like, for a crisis situation. This is where you've been told by your spouse that they want to leave, that perhaps they've already left, they're involved with someone else, They're just not interested in you anymore. They don't want to be married to you anymore, and they don't see any future with you. So what this program does is it's quite a quick program, and it's a very powerful and effective program to show you exactly what not to do and what to do in a step-by-step, very structured, powerful way to get them to change their feelings about whether they want to stay or not, so that you can begin to work on really rebuilding your relationship. So that's, if you like, for the crisis situation. It's called Stop Your Divorce: How to Save Your Marriage When Your Spouse Doesn't Want to. And if you want more details about that, here's the link to the website where you'll be able to find all the information. Now, my other program is called my Save Your Marriage Relationship Transformation Program. And this is quite a bit more detailed, and this also works for crisis situations, but this is much more on how do you rebuild the intimacy and passion and connection and communication in your marriage that's fallen by the wayside for whatever reason, over time, or maybe circumstances or stress, all those things, but you don't have that connection. You see your marriage falling apart and you want to bring it back together. You want to figure out the right things to do to rebuild that passion and intimacy. As I said, it also works for crisis situations where maybe you want to save your marriage and your spouse doesn't, but it is much more of a complete program, if you like. And again, we've got some details on that. So as I said, if you'd like some more help on learning how to really save your marriage, rebuild it, recreate it the way you really would like it to be, have a look at my two programs, and you will find they're very, very effective, very powerful, and will help get you moving in the right direction at the very least. Just before we finish, I want to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to save your marriage? So, how important is it for you to really save your marriage? What would it mean to your life if you and your spouse were together having a wonderfully loving relationship again? Which is, I'm presuming, what you really want. What's it going to mean to your family, to your children if you have children? What's it going to mean to your social life, to your career? When you've got that area of your life absolutely sorted and giving you the joy, fulfillment and happiness that you really want. And you know, if your answer to that question is an 8 or above, then I really think you should have a look at these two programs, because they are going to make a massive difference. They're going to show you the right things to do. They're going to show you what not to do as well. And you're going to have the backup and support from me to lead you through that step-by-step plan that's going to lead to the successful result that you want, which is your marriage being saved. So have a look at those two programs. Again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this. Please stop making those 5 mistakes if you're doing them. Thank you for watching. I wish you all the best. Bye for now.